Hey guys, so we're going to continue our top 10 theme. So this next list will be the first of a two-part series in which we're going to give the top 10 tips for new bands, everything from starting out up until your first gig. So check it out. So number one is rehearsals. So you're going to need a space for everyone to get together, jam, write songs. So there's pretty much two avenues you can go down. There's pay by hour rooms, which obviously you go to a place, rent a room and pay a set fee every hour. The other option is to outright rent a place. So you kind of have that space all to yourself, and you pay monthly a rent. So to start with, I would say maybe pay by hour is a good way to start, because you have no big upfront costs, and you can kind of get used to everyone in the band and how everyone plays. But if you're going to take it seriously, I would say definitely invest or think about investing in your own space, whether it's renting or if you can build somewhere. If you're lucky enough to have a big house where you can kind of transform a room into a suitable place, obviously you're going to need to soundproof it. But yeah, definitely your own space. You can not having the limits of clock watching, thinking, oh, we've only got 2 hours left, or we've only got half hour left, we need to quickly get this done. Not having that pressure can kind of boost your creativity a bit, and you can think, oh, if this ain't working this time, if we can't write this song, or if we can't get this part, there's no pressure. We can come back another day when we're all a bit fresher, which is harder to do with pay by hour rooms. So yeah, on the whole, I would say when you're first starting out, pay by hour, rent a room for a couple of hours, jam for the first time, get used to the members in your band, and then maybe think about switching to a fully fledged, your own room really.
So tip number 2, I think, is the most important tip. I'm not saying that my tips are any more important than the other guys, but I get asked this question a lot. Well, I wouldn't say I get asked this question a lot. It is the answer a lot of the time. And that is songs. So you could put out as many videos, as many social media posts as you like, but if you haven't got a great song, then you're not going to reach your full potential. You need to work on those. That's the first thing that you should do as a band, is you should put yourselves into a rehearsal room. No matter where that is, you just need to get up and hang out and get your instruments out and start jamming songs. So once you have a song that you think is going to be great, rewrite it. Use the same building blocks that you got to get to the end of that song, and then just rework them and rework them and rework them until you have an amazing song. Because that is the key. That's the product. That's what you need as a band. Is you need songs. You need someone to be able to go away from a show singing it, and it needs to have that impact. So my top tip to every single band out there is work on songs and work on songs and work on songs. And that leads us to the first single. So once you've got a batch of songs that you love, and you've got to love them, you can end up playing these every single day for the rest of your life. So once you've got a batch of songs that you absolutely love, you then need to pick the favourite child, which is a nightmare. So once you've got to that point and you've decided this is the song that's going to be the first single, you need to go and record it you need to go into a studio. You can do all the preparations beforehand. You can do rough takes, but go into a studio and record a really good version of it, even if it's just the one song. Record it, because when you go out there and start gigging, people are going to want to hear something. So If you go into the studio, get a good quality version of that song done, you are well on your way. So that brings us on to tip number 3. And this one is it's split into 2 areas, but they both form the same thing. It's goals and it's planning. So what we did in the early days of Stone Broken is we all sat around in our rehearsal space and we said, look guys, where do we want to end up? And we had different sort of levels of goals that we wanted. So there was long-term goals and there was medium-term goals. And then there's obviously the bucket list things. So yeah, everyone wants to play the Royal Albert Hall, everyone wants to play Madison Square Gardens. But you are not going to get there without having the stepping stones in which to do that. So what we did is we set out a goal, and it could be the release of our first record, our first full-length record. And then what we did is we created almost like chapters going backwards from there, and we tracked all the way back to where we were, which was songless and no shows. And then what we did is we broke it down into bite-sized pieces. So the first thing we need to do is we need to write songs, and then what we need to do is we need to record the songs, and then we need to do a video, and we need to do photos. So if you can have a solid plan laid out, it's going to seem much more manageable, and the steps aren't going to seem so huge. Because if you think to yourself, I want to play the main stage of a festival, and you don't have a clue how to get there, or you don't have these little stepping stones to get there, you will think that's a massive feast and you can't do it. So it's super important to break down what you're going to do and how you're going to get there. And to the best of your ability, no one has the answer for every single band. Every band is different. But if you can at least think about these little milestones that you want to hit and how to achieve them, then you'll be well on your way to reaching that final goal.
So next tip is tip number 4, and we're going to talk about investment. So this is time and money, and with this you just basically need to make sure that every member in the band is on the same page, because going forward you're going to need to spend some money, whether that's, as we said, on the rehearsal room, or with recordings, equipment, and with time as well. When you first start out, maybe you'll practice once a week, but as you get popular, once a week could turn into twice a week, then it could be three times a week, and it could just grow, and before you know it, it's turning into a full-time job. So everyone needs to be on the same page, definitely moving forward, that, you know, if you all want to make this into a full-time gig, that there is going to be a lot of time that needs to be spent, and certainly when you first start, a lot of money.
So tip number 5 is roles, and not as in just roles what each member of the band plays, but more the business side. So it's quite important to have each member try and have a role in the band, contribution and all that stuff as well. Like for example, for us, Rich is really good at Photoshop, so Rich deals with a lot of the album artwork, the tour posters, and so on. So if you've got someone that is good at Photoshop, maybe give them that job. There's a bunch of other jobs as well that you could all do, but I'm just giving an example. Because you've got to remember, at the end of the day, it's a band and a business at the same time.
That brings us on to tip number 6, which is brand. So brand, you might think, oh well, that's products and that's something that you see in a supermarket, but it applies to absolutely everything. So when you have songs and you have a direction for the band, and these things happen organically. You know, you get together with a bunch of different people and you all have different influences, and you end up sort of organically making your own sound. At the end of that, you then need to change that from sound into image as well. So if you think you've got a particular style that your band is, you've then got to treat everything else the same. It's all got to be consistent across the whole spectrum. So when it comes to the clothes that you wear, when it comes to the logo design, when it comes to all of the other formats that you're going to be bringing out, it's all got to be consistent, because people won't understand the difference if you've got sort of a psychedelic looking logo, but yet you're a heavy metal band. It won't make sense. So you've got to think about the brand and about the image. Obviously, you haven't got to change the person that you are. That's not what I'm saying here. But what I'm saying is that you've almost got to look the part, but then also across social media, it's all got to be portrayed the same, and that will probably happen naturally. In most cases, it will. But what I'm saying is just have a think about it as well. Is what you're doing right now, does that represent the band in the best way that it could? Does your logo fit? And does artwork that you're putting together fit? So just have a think about branding and the whole package that surrounds it.
So tip number 7 is photos. You want to make sure you get a good quality photographer. You need good photos because that's effectively going to be the first thing that people see. It's going to be on social media, maybe tour posters. They're going to be everywhere basically. So make sure you get a good photographer, you got a good image, and maybe do something that stands out from the crowd, do something quirky, try jumping in a photo shoot or something, I don't know. But yeah, a good photographer will literally do wonders.
Tip number 8, music videos. So obviously you're going to release a single and you need a video to go with it. Now it might be tempting to maybe do it yourself, skimp and save, do it on the cheap, but I would recommend investing into a good video company. There's plenty out there that will film a perfectly good video for you of high quality. You need to stand out basically, and with a good video that's well put together, that's shot really well, it could set you apart from other bands that maybe haven't got that. So definitely think about investing money and going to a production company. It doesn't need to be a huge production company. Obviously, there's plenty of good production companies that will charge a fair rate, which we've used. But definitely think about that. Don't try and do guerrilla style unless that's what the song kind of needs. But yeah, if you want to stand out, have a good video to go with your song. It does make the difference.
Tip number 9 is social media, and it's super important. Once you've found your band name and everyone's happy with the band name, reserve the band name on different platforms, so your Facebook, your Twitter, your Instagram, whatever you want to be on. As long as you've got that name registered, or reserved, I should say. Even if you don't post on those sites straight away, you've got that account ready to go with all your content. As far as posting on social media, I mean, we could talk about this for hours and hours. But I think the most important thing is to have interactive posts with your fans, to post daily, and don't kind of post a lot of the same thing. Mix it up, have fun, show a real side to you, because the fans absolutely love the behind the scenes stuff, and yeah, just have fun with it.
So tip number 10 is have patience. You got to make sure that you're not rushing everything. You don't want to mess up or make any mistakes along the way. And if things don't go your way, then try again, and hopefully you'll succeed and see the results at the end. So thank you for watching our top 10 tips. Video number 2 is coming out soon, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and see you in the next one.